Hello, Fight Insight fans, viewers, and listeners of the Filipino podcasting machine, Prince D, and with me, as always, the man formerly known as Timbo Slice, Timmy B. Before we start, please take a moment to follow and subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever you get your pods and leave 5-star reviews. If you'd like to support the show, check out middaysquares.com and use code FIGHTINSIGHT15 to save 15% on your first order. On today's episode, we talk to UFC legend turned coach turned judge, Frank Mir, Gym Slums, preview Font vs. Aldo, and a whole lot more. Tim, hit it!
Yeah, it's Timmy B, Prince D, Fight Insight. Yeah, that's right.
All right, our guest today is a true legend and pioneer of mixed martial arts with 49 fights, 33 victories, 22 finishes, and he was the recipient of 6 fight bonuses during his time with the UFC, which began in 2005 when he won Tough Season 2. Prince, one of my favorite moments is when he said, "Luke, I am your father," right before it started, man. That was the best. He fought for the lightweight title and is the former King of the Cage lightweight champion. He's now heading up the BJJ program at both Dan Henderson's Athletic Fitness Center and Cobra Kai Victorville. He's recently completed the Herb Dean Judging Certification Program, so we want to talk to him about that, figure out what that's all about. From Temecula, California, Temecula. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podcast.
Oh, here we go. Joe Daddy Stevenson!
Hey guys, how you doing?
How you doing, Joe?
Pretty good.
Thank you so much for coming.
What have you guys done today so far? What time is it over in Toronto? You guys are on East Coast time?
Yeah, Eastern Standard Time. It's 5 p.m. So we've both just finished our work days, Joe. And all day I was just looking forward to talking to you, man.
Oh, that's awesome. That legitimately makes me feel good. Thank you.
Joe, I gotta tell you something right now, man. When my dad sees this, he's gonna freak because we watched the Ultimate Fighter 2 season, and to have you on, it's a big honor, buddy. So we appreciate you taking the time.
I appreciate it. It's the Ultimate Fighter is an amazing experience. It helps you develop because you don't have your normal coaches around. You may learn some stuff. You may also have to learn that you have to rely on yourself. You know, you have to be able to make the right choices.
That's it.
Yeah, no, that's crazy, Joe, and it's amazing. You know, we reached out to our fans on Instagram and we were asking people like, "Hey, did you watch Joe Stevenson live in the finale?" And I just want to show a little picture here because it's amazing. You know, the world is changing. So this is an awesome poster that was put together by MMA Social Squad, but 62% said they didn't watch the live finale. I mean, that just shows like how many more fans have come into MMA over these last several years, right?
Well, I think too. I mean, that was back. What? Let's see. The finale was 2006.
I think so. 2005, 2006. Yeah.
So this sport, when I first started in like '99, my first fight, we were saying, "Oh, it's going to be the biggest. It's the fastest growing sport," and everyone was saying behind NASCAR. And then it became, no, it's the fastest building sport. So it's had nothing but momentum to be, to develop into what it is now. And the fact that back in the day when you saw somebody with cauliflower ear or a tap out shirt, you'd be like, all right, that guy knows what's up. Now that guy just might have got it because at Ross you can find him sometimes.
Yeah, that's true, man. I mean, it's amazing where you came, but you're a head coach, as I was saying in the intro. What people may not know about Joe Daddy Stevenson is that you transitioned into being a head coach at Dan Henderson's, which is a crazy, fantastic gym, right? With lots of killers there, lots of great athletes. Our former guest of the podcast, Matt Queso Padilla, trains with you. He says nothing but the kindest things about you and Sam. Do the people that train under you, I mean, you're teaching kids and stuff like that, do they know who you are? Do they know your legacy and like what you've accomplished?
Some of the students do. It's really cool because like a couple of the students, they'll come up and they'll be like, I Googled you. Wow. Yeah. You're like, oh, that's cool. I try not to, like rely on people to come in and do class because of who I am. I want them to do class because they want to get better and because they want to do their very best. And then I'm really good at bringing that out. Everyone needs to be coached differently. Some people need to be positively reinforced. Some people need negative reinforcement. Some people need to be pushed the whole time. Some people, you don't talk to them barely. everyone's different, and you got to figure out the formula to help develop them to like be their best. When you coach, you're really helping people get their dreams. Everyone, like anyone's real dream is to be the champ or to be the best pound for pound. So these are ideas that they have, and it's your job to try to help them reach that.
Yeah,
Hey
that's
Joe, quick
amazing.
question: Do you ever tell any of your students to do the scarecrow?
Sometimes for fun. They'll talk. It's not. It takes two people to do that. You
Yeah,
need
yeah,
somebody
yeah.
that can support your weight for extended amount. It did held me for like an hour and 45 minutes. We did 204.
Listen,
Yeah,
Joe, that was a classic. When I looking back at that, I'm just like, I can't even believe you pulled that off. And this like when you got to the ninth rep, I was like, this is crazy, unreal.
yeah.
There was back in the day, super competitive, and when you learn to use your body properly, it's not too hard to do that. You really got to get a feel. Like, do you guys train? Have you guys rolled in
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu?
yeah.
You guys ever close your eyes when you're wrestling?
Mm, I
No?
I don't
Close your
know.
eyes
Yeah.
because it's going to help you feel your opponent's reaction. You're going to be able to say, oh, wait, I feel him tensing here. So that means he's about to do something here. And if you can recognize that beforehand, you're a move ahead of him.
Nice. That's awesome, Joe.
You know,
And it
Joe,
there's
helps
a lot of Star Wars connections. Hey, close your eyes, use the Force. Right?
It
feel it,
really
man.
helps because you want as much as your body that you can to be on top of your opponents. Stapling an arm down, stapling their leg down, because that allows you to feel where their energy is. Like, oh, this guy's about to explode. Hook his legs, stay on top, base out, things like that. Those are important.
That's amazing, Joe. Joe, I do have to ask you before we ask you about the judging stuff, which is like so interesting, but you coach at a gym that's Cobra Kai Victorville, and it's like the legit Cobra Kai logo. How did that work out? Like that's so crazy that
Well,
you can
there's
go
a
to an
Cobra Kai
actual.
in Canada, and we're under SimGo in Las Vegas. He, Mark Lehman was the original creator of Cobra Kai. I believe trademarked it and everything. And
Oh,
Sim is I'm underneath Sim technically and Lovato.
yeah.
So, but it is pretty darn cool to
It's
be the official.
yeah, and like, did the Cobra Kai gym get massively more popular when the show came out? Because now you've got the Cobra Kai television show. People must recognize it even more so now,
Well, it's
right?
really weird because people will call and they're kids or sometimes adults that are maybe just crazy, and they'll ask for certain people. Like, we actually have Google reviews. Our gym's review is lowered because somebody's like, "No, their sensei punched this kid in the parking lot."
No,
Like,
Joe, don't.
oh, swear that you could Google that. That's on Google.
That's so
And
funny.
you don't even just have that, but then you have people that come in, like one time one of the kids called and he was like, does anyone from the actual show train there? I was like, well, Paul he played Keith on Kingdom. He's been
Okay,
to the
yeah.
gym a couple of times. Super cool dude, super nice guy. And I think in Cobra Kai he played Stingray. And
Yes, that's right.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
like, you know what? Stingray has been here. No way. It's pretty cool.
that's awesome, man. Yeah, that's right. Because Stingray was in Warrior,
That was
and for
Keith.
those, yeah, and for those that don't know, Joe is talking about Warrior. It's an MMA show that Joe,
Oh,
you were
Kingdom. Yeah,
Kingdom.
no,
Sorry,
no.
Kingdom.
Warrior
Yeah,
was a
sorry.
great movie.
Yeah, Warrior's the other one. Sorry, Kingdom. And Kingdom, you were brought on just to be the coordinator, but then they ended up keeping you, and then it was supposed to be like just a few episodes, and then you ended up staying on all 3 seasons.
Yeah, I was supposed to come on and be first. My job was to train the actors and get them ready, and then be a choreographer. And then I also was like a technical advisor.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you say what you would and wouldn't do. And then they just threw me in the scene on the first episode. It was kind of cool. And they called me Joe Daddy. And
Yeah.
I have the Miata. At the end of the show, they're like, do you want anything? I was like, I would love the car. And I was able to buy it from them for a very reasonable $50. And it's
Nice.
awesome. My son, I gave it to my oldest son, who's a Marine now, to drive.
That's
He
amazing.
jacked it up.
Yeah. That's amazing, Joe. So, Joe, one of the things that started going crazy over social media was when you posted a photo with you holding your Herb Dean judge/referee certificate, and people were reporting it all different. They're like, Joe Daddy's going to be a ref, and then it was Joe Daddy's going to be a judge.
Well,
But
so just getting people to talk about it, isn't that a good idea? Like the fact that right now, like you guys are like, well, what does that mean? Why does it say ref?
Yeah,
To be a judge, you have to be a ref. Like, I mean, to be a ref, you have to be certified to be a judge.
Okay.
The ref is the sole arbiter. Like, they're in charge of everything at that moment when the fight is started. But necessarily, if you're a judge, doesn't mean that you can be a ref. You still have to, there's other things involved to referee. You have to be versed. What if somebody holds on to a submission? What do you how are you going to take that submission off? So there's so much, the fact that you're talking about it and people are talking about it, that's great. I just wanted to be a judge that I've been on many split decisions. Sometimes I got them, sometimes I didn't. And I know that when you're on that other end and you hear that decision and it goes the other way, but in your head you saw everything that you did right, that you're like, those judges, they don't know what they're talking about. I don't need to improve on anything. I'm going to go drink a beer and sulk and get back to just being the same person, or hopefully they can be like, I know Joe's been in the sport a long time. He coaches the youth team for the United States. He's coached a long time, and maybe take some thought and say, okay, well, what do I need to do to improve? I think that would be awesome.
No, that's amazing, Joe. So did you do the course just so that you could understand more for your fighters and so that you can understand it from that aspect, or was it also to actually do it at some point?
Well, first and foremost, to better understand it for the fighters, because
nice.
Knowing the rules is very important. There's only 2 states in the United States that if a fight goes over so say the fight goes halfway, then you can go to the scorecards. In all the other states, you have to complete the round. Otherwise, it's going to be a no contest or disqualification. So you don't go to the scorecards. So you learn so much. You learned that it's like effective striking and grappling. First criteria for a round. Second criteria, all right, who is the aggressor? Third criteria, ring generalmanship or cage control. Who is on top? Who forced their will on the other person? So there's so much that goes into it.
And so, I think what a lot of people really liked when they saw the news that you were doing it is they were like, oh, this is it. This is going to start the trend of where we get former fighters, pro fighters, starting to go into judging or refereeing. And I think that's what a lot of people want to see, because they want to say, hey, I want people who know it firsthand, the sport, to be the ones making those decisions, because so many times, people will complain about the reffing or the judging, and they'll say that there's problems. This judge doesn't know that, and how could they score it like that?
But think about it. In each state, you have your own commission, so your own set of judges. So you're going to run into that problem over and over and over. And is this a good thing that a former fighter is doing it? Yeah, for sure. Like, will this help other fighters do it? Hopefully. And otherwise, we're going to find ourselves in 10 years saying, that's such a bad call. I can't believe they did that. So you could either be that guy, or you could go get certified and not volunteer. I think you get paid. So we'll see.
Yeah. So what is the process? Like, will you have you started judging any competitions?
Today, I'm supposed to do a Zoom call with the California Athletic Commission. And after I do that, I'll be certified with them, because I have already got certified through a course with Herb Dean and some great guys. And after that point, I guess I'll probably maybe shadow a couple times and then actually judge. I know that I actually it's called Camo here in California. It's the amateur leagues. I've already I've already got my shirt. I just don't have a free weekend.
Yeah.
You can't work an event that you have a guy fighting in and you're cornering.
So that's what I was going to ask. When the judges go there for an event, you're there for all the fights during that event, or do they change the judges out depending on the fight?
Well, that depends on the promotion. So remember, you have one fight camp, you have another fight camp, you have the promotion, and you have the commission. So you have 4 different bodies. So it kind of all like depends on the situation.
Okay. And so obviously one of the things is like you can't judge your own fighter, like one of your own students. But over time, you know, a lot of people may train with you, Joe. Like it might get to the point where if you were
I
really
told myself I would never judge somebody that I've cornered.
okay.
So other than that, I should be able to fairly, and I think I have a good enough reputation to, if anything, not judge. Like I feel like I might even judge too hard on the person I know because that, you know, and they have to know that too, and they should accept it. But like, I'm definitely going to be fair. There's criteria that has to be met. And as far as like, you know, arguing it to people and stuff, I'll always say what I've done. You know, this is why. But you can't argue because the 10-point must system and the 3 judges, the whole thing about that to make it professional is like you have 3 different people's opinions from 3 different angles watching the same fight.
Yeah.
You know, and hopefully they're all well trained.
What was the most surprising thing that you learned when you did the course? Was there anything that shocked you that you weren't aware of?
No, because I've been doing it, you know, professionally since I was 16 years old and I'm 39, so for a long time. But I did learn a couple of the little ins and outs, like, you know, the ABC commission is going to make the rules. California tends to do really well when it comes to being ahead of the curve and innovators with rules. You learn that just because you're starting a referee doesn't mean you're going to start refereeing right away. You'll probably shadow a referee and then start on some lower fights. You work your way up because you have to build the credibility to that.
Nice.
Joe, actually, I wanted to ask you. So, like, I mean, your background is you're a fighter, but what are some of the judges that you've met? What are some of the backgrounds that you've seen?
There was some guys that were rolled. There was a few guys that, you know, had kickboxing experience. There was a few guys from law enforcement and military. There was one paramedic. So everyone from different, and that's what you have to understand when you're watching a fight. It's like maybe these guys didn't. I think now the quality of judges way better, by the way, than back in the day, because I've been doing it since '99.
Yeah.
However, are there problems? Will it work itself out eventually? Yeah, for sure.
It's funny you say about, you know, being ahead of the curve and you know, new things coming. What about open scoring? That's something that people are talking about. You hear Joe Rogan talk about it sometimes. And I think what that means is that at the end of every round, the judges announce their score, not announce it, but like the scores are shown in between rounds. So the fighters and the coaches, they know how the judges are scoring. Are you a fan of that?
I'm not against it. I think it's something that needs to happen. But I am not, there's also some negatives. It's like now all of a sudden your fighter does know he's up for sure. And he goes out there and just runs away the whole time and then maybe gets caught or something. So there are some negatives, but there's also positives, like being able to say, no, for sure you lost that one. We have to win this round to win the fight. Yeah. And there's a benefit to that because now the fighter, you get so tired, so exhausted that the person that you're looking at that's talking to you that you probably love and they love you, that you're like, I don't know. I think you think that. I saw it different.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Now you have open scoring. You're like, no, it's right there. See? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. That's crazy, Joe.
Fatigue makes cowards of all men. And that was on my gym's wall when I was a kid. And I never forgot it.
Nice, Joe. Joe, I know you're short on time. You're going out actually to teach a kids class soon. We did ask for some fan questions. Do you mind if we ask you a few?
Yeah, let's do a few questions and then we'll call it and I'll go yell at some kids.
There you go.
Joe, I really appreciate you talking about the judging, though. It's so interesting. The first question is from my wife, Aaron's S2. She asked, "Did blonde Brunson steal your look?"
No, with the blonde hair, like
Yeah.
I copied that from Kevin Randleman, and Kevin was my friend. And
Oh, really?
so, yeah, so you can't steal something that's not yours. It's like when
All right.
somebody like cheats on you, you're like, yeah, they were never yours. You know,
Yeah,
don't waste your time.
All right. The next question is from @Johnny5.
Sorry, I made it dark.
No, that's okay, Joe. The next question is from @Johnny5s. They ask, "You were great in Warrior. You were great in Kingdom. Why did I write that? Are you gunning for a spot on Cobra Kai?"
Oh, well, no. At the time, a lot of the people from Kingdom kind of went over that were working in the film, and they asked me if I wanted to throw my name in that. And I grew up watching Cobra Kai, watching The Karate Kid, and that inspired me. If you were to watch my fight scenes, they would look nothing like, it looks like now. And it deserves to look like that. So I specifically didn't even go out for it when offered face-to-face.
Okay. Because I would love to see you in that, Joe. I mean, the show has taken off.
No, I want to watch it.
Yeah.
You can't see. You know what I mean? If you're involved in it, it's like, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah. At Many Faces asks, "Who are some up and coming prospects that we should be on the lookout for?"
Well, as far as like the kids, because I coach kids, there's so many kids that the U.S. has right now that are winning the IMAF World Championships and that are fighting adults as kids. I could just could go on forever. Prospects, that aren't in the UFC that are about to be and make a loud noise, small pokes. Everyone else, is pretty accomplished right now. And as far as my amateurs go, there's a kid named Tony, there's a kid named Rashad that are just sick and good.
Nice. And you coach with, and Sam Alvey has now moved, right? But you used to coach a lot with him?
Yeah, I'd see him every Monday and Wednesday and sometimes Fridays when he would come up. And it was a pleasure because Sam's awesome. I definitely miss him. But when you hear him laugh, you feel his warmth and you smell him. It's really weird.
Joe, again, we really appreciate you coming on. I mean, with the whole judging thing, we wonder how that's going to go. But I think, like you said, people were so excited to know that you were a judge that knew that you were getting into it. I think it gives people a lot of hope and aspirations for where the sport is going to go. And even in hearing what you're saying, that the other students in the class with you were people of martial arts or law enforcement or whatever, people that have some sort of passion in it or have grown up with it in some form. I think that's really inspiring. I think people are really going to take a lot away from that.
The people that care, when they care about something, they're going to put their time and effort into it. Just like I try to make all my students fall in love with jiu-jitsu and training, because when you fall in love with it, you treat it right. You don't treat it wrong. And that's important.
Yeah, that's true, Joe. Joe, before we let you go, is there anything that you want to say or anything that you want to shout out?
No, God bless everyone. Aaron Williams is fighting Saturday at King of the Cage. I'm excited. He's defending his world championship belt.
Nice.
I've coached him since he was a little kid. I love that guy. So it's going to be great.
Awesome. Well, good luck to him. Joe, we'll put all your contact information in the show notes for people to find you. If you don't already follow Joe, do it. Joe, we were watching, Prince and I rewatched some Tough season 2 episodes. It's so crazy. It's not even in widescreen. That's how long ago it was that you were thrilling us all.
That's awesome.
That was great fun, man. Joe, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate your time.
No problem. Have a good one, guys. God bless.
All the best, buddy.
All right, man.
Wow.
What a great guy. Joe Daddy Stevenson, one of my favorites of all time. I mean, totally one of my favorites of all time. Love that guy.
Joe Daddy, wow. And I find he's so inspirational, eh? Even the way he speaks, He's so passionate about his job. He's so passionate about what he's doing now. Like he's gonna definitely make some positive influences being a new judge, right? So yeah, hopefully we get to see him up there.
Yeah, and I hope, you know, I like what he said about the open scoring too, because I think I would like to see that. I know what he's saying about like if you're up 2 rounds, then maybe on the third one you just kind of run around. But he added a nice twist because he's like, you're going to run around, maybe let your guard down and then get knocked out. It's not just about the fact that you might run away and make the fight boring. So yeah, I thought that was interesting.
I wonder. So I mean, if the open scoring, I mean, it would show which judge scored what, right?
I think it's going to show. I don't know. It might anonymize, but it would show you the score, so you know that all 3 judges have scored you winning the first 2 rounds. So then you're in the third round, and you're like, okay, well, I just need to not get knocked out, and I win this fight. So it might change things, but yeah, we'll see. I'm sure in the beginning it might make things a little bit weird, but aside from that, Prince, do you want to announce to people, and thank you to anybody that's joining the show because Joe Daddy Stevenson was here. Welcome to the show. Prince, let people know who we have next week on the show.
Okay, guys. So big announcement. So we have for our next show for next week, we've got Chris the Beast Boy Barnett.
So for those that don't know, Chris the Beast Boy Barnett, what hole are you living under? But that's this guy. That is literally a photo of a heavyweight doing a leaping somersault in the middle of the air.
2 words, guys. Spinning wheel kick.
Yeah. So Chris Barnett joins the show next week. Prince, so excited to talk to him, man. We just don't know a lot about him, right? We just know that he's some crazy guy that dances to the ring and seems to be having a hell of a lot of fun. And he moves around like a flyweight.
And one of the craziest knockouts we've seen in a long time. Like literally, that thing is going around social media back and forth. Literally, that kick is like. I think that's one of the first questions we're going to ask. Like, what made you decide to pull that one off, right? And it stuck and it landed. So
agile.
We're so excited.
Agile. Prince, to the people that are watching, you know, if you want to support the show, one of the ways that you can do that, of course, aside from following us on social media at Fight Insight Podcast, is to go to middaysquares.com. So they have functional chocolate bars. Do you have your thingy there? I don't have mine here. Oh, there you go. Functional chocolate bars. You got to have those. They keep you full for around 4 hours. They taste amazing. Use code FIGHTINSIGHT15 to save 15% on your first order. Again, that's middaysquares.com. So thanks, Prince.
In flavor, if I'd have to pick, it'd have to be the peanut butter one. Peanut butter, oh my gosh, like peanut butter.
I like the almond. The almond was like a little bit salty. I like that one. All right, Prince. What do you want to talk about first?
All right, let's talk. Why don't we talk about Frank Mir?
Oh boy. Triller Triad Combat Frank Mir. Whew, this was a toughie, Prince. For those that don't know, Triller had their Triad Combat. It was fighting in like a triangular ring, right? Like a boxing ring, but it was a triangle. And the whole event, correct me if I'm wrong, it was boxers versus MMA fighters.
Yep.
But it was boxing rules or something like that. And they were using small gloves, right?
Yeah, so they're
boxing gloves.
It's like if anyone's seen it, basically what it is, it's like a MMA glove, but I guess the knuckle part's got a little bit more covering, so it covers all the way through like that.
Yeah. So there was no grabbing or anything like that, right? And so a couple of big names fought on the card. I think my cat wants to get out of my room. Can you hold on one sec?
Yeah, I got you.
No, it's okay. He's just crawling around. There were a couple of big names on the card. The first one was Mike Perry. So Mike Perry fought. My cat's going to break everything here. Hold on. Mike Perry fought Prince. And Mike Perry won a split decision victory, which was crazy for him. So good on him. He apparently made like $200K or something like that, or 200, something like that. A lot of money. Did you watch that fight?
I saw the highlights actually, because just because of what happened to Mir, like it's all over social media. That was nuts.
And then the main event, this happened. So I'm going to play a video here. Let's see if this works.
And the upper body power and strength brought to Achille apparent. Oh, big right hand. Mir's hurt. He's out on his feet. He's out on his feet. Left hook. He's out on his feet. What is Bergliano doing? He's out on his feet. This one's over.
Ugh. For those on audio, obviously follow us on, watch us on YouTube. But that was just the ending sequence where Mir pretty much is like Mortal Kombat style, just like on his feet, dizzy.
Yes, him.
That guy threw that uppercut that missed.
Mhm.
I mean, had he landed with that, God help him. Like, that was brutal. And then he still clips him though with the hard left hook, and
Yep.
they call it. Prince, scary moment for
Yeah,
champion.
honestly, as soon as he started getting wobbly and you see the daze in your eyes, he should have went in there and stopped the whole thing. I know he was still standing, but man, it's those times are dangerous. If he lands and then pull off was actually like he knows if he throws another one and he clips him, he's gone, right?
Yeah, I don't know how that guy missed.
Yeah.
Right, because Frank Mir is literally standing there, hands down, dazed, and he like whips that uppercut and misses him. I mean, holy cow, really dangerous, man.
But did you hear what Sonnen tweeted about or posted?
No,
He mentioned, he goes, okay, that was the best acting skill he's ever seen. From 0 to Tito, he says he rated it at a 7.
who's he
What do
saying
you
is
think?
faking? Mir is
Mir.
faking?
Yeah. What do you think?
I don't know, man. That no, I don't think so. Because that guy went to like murder him after. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, now that you say that, frick. Now I do think it's fake because the way the guy didn't jump on him, like why was
Mhm.
like Mergliata wasn't stopping the fight, so why wasn't the guy rushing after him, just smashing him? And
That's
unless he saw how bad it was and is like, I don't want to hit this guy anymore.
man,
All right, it's
honestly.
fake. It's fake. I guess who said it's fake?
Sonnen.
Oh, Chael?
Yep.
All right. You say it with a very Asian accent there.
Sorry. I am English is my second language, guys. Sorry about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. I don't know. Do you want to see Frank Mir fight again?
Mir, I think you should. Yeah, let's call it quits. Let's focus on something else.
He just won a fight though. He won a fight on the Jake Paul undercard, right? I feel
Yeah,
like
but
he won his fight there. Boxing.
man, I just
don't know.
what
It's
I don't
tough.
know. Like, who else is he gonna face after this? Like Triad? Are they gonna set up another match?
I don't know who was the guy he was fighting. It's not like any of us really know. You know what I mean? I'm sure some people know. Respectfully, I'm sure they do, but I don't know. That's tough, man. The next thing, okay, one thing I just want to quickly shout out is that the day that you're watching this, ONE FC Grand Prix will finish. So the fight on the day that this comes out on the Friday, there will be a ONE FC event. It's called Winter Warriors. And the final of the Grand Prix that we had talked about, we obviously had Denise Zamboanga and Elise Anderson that were in the tournament on our podcast. Stamp versus Ritu Fogat is happening. So the winner of that apparently gets to fight Angela Lee for the title. So if you've been following along on our podcast, if you've been interested how that tournament goes, Friday on YouTube, check it out.
Man, what a roller coaster ride! Like, who do you think is gonna take it now, Tim?
We
would have never thought. We would have never thought this was gonna be the finale. Like,
my logistic brain says Ritu's gonna take it.
Yeah.
She's gonna grab Stamp. She's gonna put her on the ground. She's gonna side control, and she's going to grind it out. And she's gonna either beat her into submission, or just decision her out.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Ritu's really, really strong, man. Stamp is amazing, and I love Stamp, and I'd rather see Stamp versus Angela Lee.
Yeah, it'll be a good matchup.
But I think Ritu's going to take it. I'm very worried about Stamp being able to get out from under Ritu.
So then, say Ritu makes it to the finals against Lee. To the final. Yeah, with Lee. Who do you think is going to take it?
I think Ritu beats Lee. Yeah.
Wow.
First ever female Indian champion, I think that would be.
Yep.
And ONE FC is like, big in Asia and all that. Their heavyweight champion right now is Bulgar, which is an Indian gentleman.
Yes. And I think Canadian background too.
I think so. I think he's like somehow Canadian Indian. And so then they would have an Indian male champion and an Indian female champion. I mean, crazy for India. That's amazing. But sad for Stamp. I like Stamp. If you don't follow Stamp on social media, you got to. She's hilarious, and she does all her dancing and stuff. She's very, very personable on Instagram. All right, Prince. I want to go to a sad thing, maybe. this was not on our plan to talk about it, but it just happened today before we came online, and that is this weird post from
Yep.
Nicco Montaño. You saw this?
Yeah, I saw
You
this.
see it?
Yep.
So,
Mhm.
guys, I don't know what the hell this is. It says, and for those on audio, it says, "Tonight, Justin Watson stood on my neck and stomped my face in, then kept kicking me and shoving my hair into his fist and the corner of the bed frame. I got away for a second to run down the hall, screaming for my life as he tried to grab me back. Luckily, someone from the hotel heard my screams and came to my rescue. I'm stuck in Texas, not knowing where he is. I'm in the hospital. I'm so lucky to have the technique and strength that I have to have defended myself." I mean, really scary shit.
Yeah, that's I'm shocked. And then, you
No,
remember how in last podcast, a couple of podcasts, we're talking about abuse and verbal abuse, physical abuse.
yep.
And now this is coming to light, right? So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
really scary, man. And Nicco Montaño, she's had such an unfortunate career in MMA. We talked about her on Filipino TV. I just brought her up. We were talking about like fighters that didn't reach their potential.
yeah,
And my pick was Nicco Montaño because I was like, man, she was the inaugural flyweight champion, and then she, lost it, had all these weight issues, blah blah, and then she was cut from the UFC, never really fought a couple of times,
mhm.
and then now this, and then she has this big drama thing going on about some sort of movie that was filmed about her
Yeah,
that she's.
being nude or something. There was a nude photo or something that showed up,
I
right?
think it's something about being nude, but I think it's also something about just the way they portray her in this documentary or something. So
Mhm.
man, poor girl. Jeez Louise, I hope everything's okay for her.
Yeah.
That's scary as hell, man. What it does highlight, Prince, Lanny, we had Lanny Chan on our podcast, who's the owner of Stride Muay Thai in Scarborough. He did free self-defense seminars for women.
Mhm. Mhm.
The one thing that Nico's post kind of highlights is like, look, man, it was lucky that I had the skills to be able to defend myself and get away from this person, because these are the things that happen, right? And that's why martial arts is good for everybody, but specifically women.
Yeah. And I mean, martial arts. I mean, again, it's another great outlet, especially if you mental health issues. I mean, it's really another thing that you can just get a lot of your stress out of. But on top of that, you learn something that's essential, right? These things happen,
Yeah.
and you have the skill set with you. You use it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, holy moly, scary stuff, man.
Yeah.
So we wish her well, and we hope that everything's okay for her. Prince, let's move on to Aldo versus Font.
Yes.
Are you excited?
Oh man, this card's it's underdog. It's the underdog cards. Like everyone in there is like fighting for, to earn a spot. And Aldo, the champ, the legend's back.
Yep.
This one's good. I think this is gonna be
So
a good card.
let me start it off by showing a poster. This is 2 shout outs to our buddies at MMA Social Squad, but pow!
Wow.
Look
Look
at
at
that
that.
poster. Dude, this poster is way better than the poster that the UFC made. I know I say that every time, but this time was really bad, the official one. And this
Yeah.
is exceptionally good. Sorry, that is exceptionally good. All right, on this card, Prince, what fights do we want to talk about? I do want to say on the prelims, there's Alonzo Menefield versus William Knight. William the Nightmare Knight is a guy that I trained with in Hartford. I forget if I've talked about this on the podcast before. I went
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Hartford. I went to Hartford for a business trip,
Yep.
and while I'm there and I have nothing to do at nighttime, I always look for MMA gyms to go train at. So I go train at this gym. It was called Thornton Martial Arts,
Hmm.
and really nice gym. Hard to find, but really nice gym in Hartford. And I was there for 2 or 3 days, and I was trained there at night. And this guy comes in, and I think he had just fought a fight, like an amateur or a pro fight. Must have been a pro fight, maybe. That weekend he had fought, and apparently like he was fighting like the next weekend or 2 weekends, and everybody was saying like, oh, this guy's on the come up.
Mhm.
He was the size of like 4 human beings put together, but like 4 muscular human beings. Like he was like a Voltron of like muscular people.
Yeah.
Scariest guy. Like you're like, what the hell is this guy? And then we're doing drills. Like I think it was I did jujitsu, and then I was doing Muay Thai. And he comes over and he's like, hey man, do you want me to help you with that? You want me to do this? And blah blah. And he was like the nicest freaking guy, like so nice. And so I've like I was like, holy crap, this guy, like, totally not what you see is not what you get. And really, really nice guy. And then I was following him on Instagram. He like trains a whole bunch of like soccer moms and stuff. Like, he's just a great guy. Then he won the Contender Series. He won a fight there, and then he got in, and he's had some good fights. So really excited for him, man. If you don't know who to cheer for, please cheer for William Knight. Nicest guy, man.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Do you ever go to a Muay Thai gym and not say that you know anything? You say, "Oh, my first time."
Of course, I always go to the junior class, and then they'll go like, "Oh, you're doing very well for a beginner," and I'm like, "Haha, thank you."
Yeah, because you don't want to get thrown with like the
No.
experts and the fighters and be like, "Yeah, you don't know anything." So yeah.
You don't want to say you're good, and then you're
good, and then you go in there like, "What's going on?" Right?
Yeah. All right. Just updated on Wikipedia. Very important is our friend Bam Bam
Yes.
gets his fight. Holy crap, dude! He was painting his nails, getting on the flight. As of Monday, he's getting on the flight, painting his nails, blah, blah, blah. Had no opponent. And I was messaging him. I'm like, hey, man, you still have no opponent? He's like, nope. But like, there's him and his coaches all flying out. I mean, they had all the faith in the world that something was going to happen. And then they get Darian Weeks making his UFC debut, 5-0. Looks like a striker to me, based on his wins. He's won quite a few by strikes. Who do you have winning that fight, Prince? Be very objective, please. No, not the fact that like your best friend.
You know what? I've made a decision. If you ask me who my favorite, you know who's my favorite UFC fighter is right now?
Yeah,
Bam Bam.
Definitely.
We know him.
Yeah, of course.
And he's a best friend of the podcast. So listen, Brian. Listen, Bam Bam. You're gonna win this one, baby. You're gonna take this one.
Of course, man.
He's gonna take it. Oh my gosh! Like,
look, first of all, he has to beat this guy. He has to beat him. Has to crush him. Big respect to Bam Bam that he is taking a guy on short notice like this. A guy who is, to look at it fairly, a guy who's got his octagon debut. So yes, there's jitters. Yes, it's short notice, but he's also undefeated, 5-0. Young guy, striker. It's not a done deal by any means. Bam Bam, taking him on, as he says, I don't care who I'm fighting, I'm just going to beat someone up. So good on Bam Bam. Obviously, I'm picking Bam Bam as well. But the UFC must love Bam Bam in. They're putting him as the show opener. Right now, I've got it as he's the first fight on the main card.
Yep. And hey, look, he was the one who derailed this the Northcutt train. Right. So you know what,
he
Bam,
can derail another train. Is that what you mean?
That's what I'm saying too. Yeah. Like I got my money on Bam, and you know what? Now that when I watch his fights or any of my friends are around, they're like, "Oh, Prince, man, you're rooting pretty hard for this guy." I'm like, "He's my friend."
Yeah, I have a shirt made out of his beard hairs.
Beard hairs, man. I played Call of Duty with that
guy. Next fight on the card, light heavyweight. I'm skipping one, but okay, Brent. I won't talk about this, but Brandon Allen versus Chris Curtis. Pick
my Chris Curtis.
Yeah, Chris Curtis.
Yep. I think when he started with his debut against Phil Hawes, ever since that counter left hook, I've been really, really favorite with my fave. So I'm picking this guy.
All right, you obviously did research, right? Because
I did. I actually, you know what? I see. To make sure, just to make sure, because you know what, it's yeah.
I see your eyes looking at notes.
Yeah.
All right. Jamahal Hill versus Jimmy Croot. Okay, we do know these two guys because these are two guys that got badly damaged in their last fight. Jamahal Hill was the guy that had his arm snapped in half by Paul Craig. And Jimmy Croot is the guy that got his foot, the nerve damage, the drop foot against Anthony Lionheart Smith. So both those guys coming off bad injuries. Probably Hill's worse than Croot's, but they're fighting. Who do you have in that? Hill or Croot?
I have Croot.
Yeah, I think so too, actually.
I think Croot's going to take it.
Yeah, I do love Hill, but I just don't know enough about him to give him the win over Croot. Clay Guida versus Leonardo Santos.
Both coming off of losses. I like Clay. Clay's I just love him. He's one of those guys that, is this massive scrapper. His last fight, too. We went to decision. They could have gone either way, but I got Clay.
I'm gonna go with Santos. Santos is 18-4-1. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my god. Okay, he had like 100 wins in a row before losing his last fight to Grant Dawson. Had one no contest in there, but literally was on like a 10-11 fight no losing streak. Man, Clay Guida's an anomaly, but he's getting up there, man. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Santos. Lightweight co-main event. This is a banger. Holy crap. Brad Riddell versus Rafael Fizzyev. Who do you got?
Both from Tiger Muay Thai. I got Riddell on this one.
Riddell?
I got Riddell.
Oh, all right. Good. I'm going against you as I love to do. I'm going with Fizzyev. He's the guy that beat my man Bobby Green. Yeah, both Tiger Muay Thai. Both great fighters, but I feel like Rafael has the better history of fights. Like I feel like he's beaten a little bit better quality of fighters in the time that he's been in UFC. So I'm gonna go Fizzyev. Why are you picking Riddell?
He's on a win streak. He's he's on a streak right now. He's kicking butt. He's looking good. I think he's just going to take
it. He's 10-1.
I think this one's definitely going to be. I think it's definitely going to go into decision. But I think it's one of those ones where they're going to have to put like a liner because it'll just be blood all over the cage.
Well, you love talking about liners, but he's on a 7-fight win streak, but his last 5 were decisions, whereas Fizzyev is on a 4-fight win streak. He's 10-1. His last 4 fights, well, 3 of them are decision. 1 is a KO knockout, but his last 3 fights were all bonus winning: fight of the night, performance of the night, and fight of the night. I don't know,
but and they're both friends.
Yeah. There's training footage of them and stuff like that, right? So that's pretty interesting. All right, well, there's that. Main event: Jose Aldo versus Rob Font.
I've got Aldo.
Yeah.
I've got Aldo taking this one just because you know what? I wonder, Font, recently contracted COVID. I don't know how that's affected any of his training or his stamina. Aldo's on a 2-fight win streak. He's won the fight against Vera and Munoz. He's been doing good. Like I think he's got a brand new outlook in life, and he's got a brand new drive. He looks good in this division. I honestly think Aldo's going to take it. And Aldo's, I don't know. It's different. I feel like there's a different fire to him. He's ready to go. I think he's going to take this one.
I know. It seems like Aldo's on a streak. You get to Font, and he's won 4 in a row over Marlon Moraes, Cody Garbrandt, Ricky Simone, Sergio Pettis, who's now champion in Bellator. It's tough. At some point, Aldo's got to get too old, no? At some point, Aldo's mileage? I don't know. I will just to keep the streak alive, I will go against you again, and I will go with Font. I do like Font. I just don't know. It's weird though. Isn't Aldo really young still too? We all think he's 50, but he's 35 and Font is 34.
Yeah, and he's my age. So there you go. So yeah. Listen, we've got a 40-year-old as heavyweight champ. So 41 years.
Yeah, whatever he is. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going with Font, and we will see the card. But the most important thing is that Brian Barberena wins. So everybody, please tune in on Saturday. This podcast comes out on Friday, so we will all be cheering like hell for Bam Bam. That's the big thing. Prince, in terms of other friends of the podcast news, I do want to say one thing is that a future friend of the podcast, we've never talked to him before, but we are setting it up to talk to him. And in Bellator, Josh the Gentleman Hill, he's a Canadian, out of Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. He's the number 7 ranked bantamweight. He's fighting Jared Scoggins the day this podcast comes out on December 3rd. So huge good luck to him. He will be on the podcast one day, and we hope to celebrate this win with him. So good luck to him. And then the only other friend of the podcast update was for Bam Bam. So we've already done that. So that is good.
Listen, they should like re-switch that whole card and have Bam Bam be the main event because that's all we care about, baby.
Against a guy making his UFC debut with 5 professional fights.
I don't care. Bam's gonna take it. Like I'm gonna be screaming my lungs out. Like I'm gonna make sure this guy. Man, I don't know.
Yeah.
The last fight he was in, it was it was tough. My girlfriend's like, "Hey, is everything okay?" I'm like, just not feeling good. I'm done for the day. We're not going out.
All right, buddy. We talked about a lot of stuff. I think we talked about pretty much everything we wanted to get to. There's just the one thing, the gym slump thing that we still haven't got to, but we'll save that for another day. Prince, anything else you want to say before we go? Any news? Anything exciting? You've already given away your age this podcast, so that's.
I know. Dang it. We'll edit that, please. Maybe we'll throw a bleep in there. But guys, just again, another reminder: please come follow us on social media, YouTube, or wherever you get your pods by searching Fight Insight Podcast. All right, and again. Fight Insight 15 to get 15% on your first order. MidDaySquares.com.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Next week, Chris Barnett is on the show. We will talk to him and find out who the hell is this guy. Aside from that, enjoy the fights. You had a tough weekend last weekend with no UFC fights. Around now, you'll start seeing videos show up of the different ones you can click. Go watch some of our old videos. It would help us out. Prince.
Tim, guys, you take good care. And as you guys can see, they've got a nice little monitor in the back over here. I hope you guys are enjoying that.
Well, it's been the same thing the whole thing, but next week you have plans to like put something on that screen.
Yeah. Don't worry, I've got some plans. All right, we're trying to make this podcast better, livelier. We might have some go-go dancers and stuff. No, we're not. I'm just kidding because we can't afford that. But yes, Tim.
All right, have a good one, buddy.